peeps, welcome back to Project Anonymous, and in today's video,
we're going to download, install, and go over some of the new features in INKSTitch version 3.0.
So let's get to it. So this update came out very recently, and it has a bunch of new refinements, updates, and features, and we'll cover a few of them.
Yeah, there will be features that we won't cover in today's video because they were probably going to be their own separate video because of the scale of the project. But go ahead and comment down below what you want to see first.
So are you ready to download our new InkStitch?
Let's do it. So here we are at inkstitch.org. This is the home screen here, and we can go ahead and click install InkStitch. But before I do that, I want to make sure what operating system we're running on. Please keep in mind that if you are running Ventura on a Mac OS, it will not work. And you can see here on download in INKSCAPE, there's a little note here for Mac OS users to not run Ventura if you rely on INKSCAPE to run on your computer. So let's see what we're at. And we are running Catalina, so we are good there. Go back to InkStitch and install InkStitch. We are running Mac, and we're going to run it for Catalina right here. So once the download is complete, you can go ahead and double click on the installer. And you may see this pop up depending on your security settings. So what we have to do here to get this to run and open is click on this little question mark and then follow the directions here. We can go to System Preferences and change our security settings real quick. Click the unlock icon, unlock it. Okay, so now we have permission to go ahead and open. We're going to go ahead and OK. All right. And now our installer is open, and we can go ahead and continue with the installation. And we can go ahead and move the installer to the trash. Now, INKSTitch version 3.0 should be installed on our computer.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is something we can't actually do because we're running macOS, but if you run Linux, for example, you can do this. It's basically selecting embroidery elements, and it's something you can do outside of INKSTitch params. So how can you locate this?
So first of all, what we'll do is we'll just draw a shape so that we can have something to select on. And we can go to Extensions, INKSTitch, Edit, and select Embroidery Elements. And you can see here, there's a whole bunch of param type settings that you can make here outside of params to make it, I guess, a little bit easier in setting up your design. So you don't have to click each individual object inside params and then save it and then keep going. So in here you can see you can change stroke style, satin, and your different types of fills right here. But again, this function is not available for Mac OS, so regardless of what we change this to, it's not going to matter. It will look like it's going to save, and then it doesn't, unfortunately.
So now that we covered one way you can do stuff outside of params if you're not using macOS, let's cover some things you can do within params.
So the next thing we'll cover is meander fill, which is kind of a random fill type stitch that INKSTitch now offers, which we're huge fans of any different types of customizable things that you can do, and INKSTitch is becoming more and more professional in allowing those selections and by doing these updates. To select meander fill, we're going to have to go into params, and then right here we can just click on meander fill. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off our underlay so you can really see what this is about, because it's really neat. In order to change the density of these stitches, it's actually pretty simple. You just reduce the meander pattern scale to a lower value. So I'm just going to hit 20% here real quick so you can see what that looks like. And it will be a little bit more tighter, denser look and give you more detail.
So should we see what this looks like in the simulator realistic preview?
Yeah, let's do that. I really like this kind of randomized fill, and I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like. So we can apply and quit and go to our So obviously this is going to give you a very unique look in your embroidery design that will give your design a little bit more dimension by having different types of fill. And this is just a really cool fuzzy kind of look.
So this fill method turned out really cool, and they also added another one. So should we go see what that one looks like?
Sure. And we covered contour fill before, but now there's a circular fill, which for this particular shape is going to look pretty much the same, but I do want to show you something that is really unique about circular fill that could look really cool for your embroidery designs. So where circular fill is actually pretty awesome is the ability to create, I guess, an overall circle that you can fit multiple objects in and have that pattern run throughout all of the objects in your design. It can be somewhat tricky to do, but it's not too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn these different colors just to kind of show some of the cool things that you can get out of this. So the first thing we'll do is select all of our objects. Then we're going to go to Extensions, Inkstitch Commands, and then we're going to attach commands to selected objects. We want to select target position, because what this is going to do is it's going to identify the center point of our main circle for the overall project. It's going to give us a target position for each of our individual objects that we will then overlap. So I hit apply, and you can see it gives us this little asterisk looking thing. And I'm just going to put the center point right here, but I want to put all the center points on top of each other. So now, when we do that circle, we go to Extensions, Inkstitch, Params. You can see that the circle runs throughout all three objects here. And again, we didn't turn off the underlay on these two objects here, which we can if we select that, turn that off. But I think this is really cool in that the circle shape kind of fills within all three objects, versus what would happen is the center would be in each of these individual objects and work their way out. But now the center is kind of like in the blank space. So that's kind of neat. I really like that.
So the next thing we'll cover is the updates within the lettering GUI.
Yeah, there's a lot of new fonts available in the lettering tool now that weren't there before with this update. But one in particular that we found really neat that we'd like to show you.
So we're just going to head over it from Extensions, Inkstitch Lettering.
So you can see here there's quite a few new fonts in here. But the one we wanted to show you is this Emilio Applique. This is really cool because as we've done applique projects in the past, you have to kind of duplicate your design so that you can turn one into a little running stitch to sew down your applique material, giving you a break to cut off the excess material, and then your second layer kind of puts a satin stitch on top of that to cover up the ends of that applique. Well, with this particular font that is built in to the lettering tool, it has all of that in there. So all you have to do is create what word you want, enter it in, and you can see here, if we zoom in, there is a little centerline stitch that they purposely put a different color because your machine will stop after that first color is stitched out. So it gives you time to kind of cut the excess material out, and then it will lock it down with that satin stitch afterwards. You can see that there's a little thin satin stitch and a thicker satin stitch. So 3 total colors for this particular project. So if we bring this out into the simulator realistic preview, you can see exactly what it does. So you can see right here that it's running its little run stitch, and then it adds a small satin stitch around it, or zigzag stitch around that, and then it's going to add this thick satin stitch all the way around that.
I think this would be really cool on like a hat maybe, like if you did like initials on a hat.
Or a jersey, or really anything you want applique text, block text on. This is a really cool thing in that it's just making it easier for you to do applique because you won't have to go through the steps of putting multiple layers on top of each other. It literally just comes in there, you just type in the word you want, make it the size that you want, and then sew it out.
Yeah, if this is a style of font you want for one of your applique projects, this just simplifies your...
So let's look at this, or see what this looks like as a finished product. Okay, so here's the finished product. One thing to note here is that you'll see that each letter does its thing individually. So you would have to kind of stop your machine for each letter to cut off the excess material before continuing on. There is a way, of course, by restacking your objects so that you can kind of do all of the red portion or the applique bit, running stitch first, and then proceed on with the rest of the design. But again, I'll take this because it's already pre-built in, all of the applique stuff. So that's really neat.
So the next thing we're going to talk about within the lettering tool updates is you can actually put a lettering along a path. So you can make it curved or whatever you want.
Yeah, now this is huge because we all know in the past we could use text and put that along a path to get it to kind of curve around a shape that you want. But we haven't been able to do that with the lettering tool where we get, your classic style of embroidery lettering. We would, in the past, have to individually move letters to a direction to kind of get it to curve along the path that we would want. Well, now we don't have to do that anymore. All you have to do is select the path that you want and then click a few buttons and your lettering will go to that. So we'll kind of show you with an example here. So we're just going to use our Bezier tool and draw a simple curve. I'm going to go ahead and curve that up a little bit. And then I'm going to convert that to path. And now all you have to do to put this word test along this path is select everything, go to extensions, inkstitch, lettering along path. And you have the option to stretch it out so that you can move the letters all the way along this path, or just have the default spacing between letters here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Hit apply, and then there you go. You've got it perfectly along your path. So that's pretty neat. We haven't been able to do that before. And then once you're done with it, you could actually delete your path line and the letters will stay where they need to be.
So the next section that inkstitch updated is stroke options. If you have like a trace bitmap and it's usually a fill, you can actually turn that into a stroke.
Yeah, so if you're using a very simple lined clip art, where in the past, if it's a very thin line drawing, that you would really want to be a stroke or a satin edge, but you can't because whenever you do a trace bitmap, it automatically assumes it's a fill. Now there's a way to turn that into a stroke very easily. We'll go ahead and show you. We're just going to import this. All right, so here's our JPEG that we brought in, and we're going to go ahead and do a quick trace bitmap on it. And then we can go ahead and move our image. So get rid of that. Now, if we go ahead and look at this in params, even though it looks like it should be a stroke all along the edge, given that, nice zigzag stitch all the way around, it's actually a fill and it doesn't look too nice when you actually stitch it out. But we'll go ahead and show you that. So you can see here, this is really just a big fill stitch. The lines don't contour with the shape at all. But now we can go ahead and change that with this new feature. So in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and select our object, go to Extensions, Inkstitch, Tools, Stroke, and then Fill to Stroke. And again, we're going to go ahead and turn the live preview on here so that we can see the thickness, because we have full control here to make it as thick as we want right here in this window. Perfect. Hit apply and let's see the difference. So you can see here, this completely changed how this stitches out. It is now a nice zigzag stitch, or basically a stroke that will stitch out the way we would want something that is like clip art. But you could see that there's a lot of jump stitches here that we would not want. So again, from the previous update, we can do some modifications here to fix this. We could either restack these to go around the circle, giving us less jump stitches, or we could use another feature in Inkscape. I'm going to hit apply and quit here real quick. And now we're going to go to Extensions, Inkstitch, Tools, Stroke, and auto route running stitch. Yeah, we'll just leave that like that. Apply. And you can see right there is a perfect no jump stitch stitched out design. Really simply, just by clicking a few buttons versus, I mean, all the work that we would have had to do before, tracing shapes to try to get this in to a nice stroke, but this is way, way easier than when we first started using inkstitch.
So inkstitch added a feature where you can actually hide jump stitches with a jump to stroke.
Yeah, this is another really cool feature in order to reduce the amount of jump stitches that will be in your overall embroidery design by hiding the jump stitches within the embroidery design. So if you have multiple shapes of the same color that would normally have a jump stitch between, but you have a shape that goes or runs between the middle, you could hide where the jump stitch goes to the second object. So we'll go ahead and just draw something up real quick to show as an example. So if you were to stitch this out traditionally, what would happen is either your red would stitch out first or your green would stitch out first, but either way, there would be a jump stitch from this object over to this object or this object over to this object. But now what we can do is we can hide those stitches underneath the red and by defining basically where that jump stitch goes. So to do that, we just select our objects that we want to define where the jump stitch goes and go to inkstitch, tools, stroke, jump stitch to stroke. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply and close. So if we zoom in here, you can see now we have controllability over this jump stitch line and we can actually move it to where we want it to go. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it and I'm going to kind of bend it up into the red piece. So now it will actually stitch out underneath the red, hiding it, which is pretty cool.
So do you want to look at this in the simulated realistic preview?
Sure. So you can see here our bent line that is now going to be hidden underneath. So we won't have any jump stitches on this project where we would normally have a nice jump stitch from one side to the other.
So we're in the simulator, which brings us to the last thing we'll cover in today's video. I don't know if you've already noticed, but in the background, it's usually white on the simulator realistic preview, but now it actually takes your document properties color and it makes that the background for the simulator realistic preview. So if you had like a pink background, it will bring the pink background into your simulator.
Yeah, we usually default ours to gray so that we could see if we're using a white thread that we would want to have a good background on. So it's just kind of neat that it will show up the same way.
So this is pretty helpful. So those are all the features we're going to cover in this video. We're going to cover a lot of the other updates too, because there's a lot more we haven't covered in this video, but comment which ones we should prioritize to go in depth.
Yeah, we're going to do those in dedicated videos because they're pretty detailed in some of those. So we just want to know, what do you want to see first?
Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like if you liked it.
Like it.
Subscribe if you enjoy our content.
Subscribe.
And turn on those notifications to get reminded every single time we post a video. Stay crafty.
Be happy.
Bye.